Hello there, friends, on this chilly and windy March 5th, 2018. It's about 7:30 at night. It's been very windy the last couple of days here. But I came prepared. I got my gloves, my hat, my sweater, finished working, and I got to get my training. This isn't go home after work, drown yourself in beer and feel sorry for yourself. It is a training day. I don't even view it as working out anymore, folks. I view it and call it my training. I feel like I'm now training for something, a lonely little old warrior training for something. I don't yet know what, but eventually I'll find out. Getting myself ready, getting myself in shape. Taking this very seriously. No excuses. I've already got my food ready this morning. Got a bunch of eggs hard-boiled. Got some grass-fed butter, some avocado. Probably even eat a few raw eggs. I very much enjoy the taste. There's no excuses after work. I'm dressed for the weather. I've got the park all to myself. Nobody wants to be out there this late. Got the park to myself, just alone in the dark, by myself, training my body. What more could you really want, folks? It is going to be handstands, mostly handstands today. And I decided to just kind of do away with the push-ups and put a lot of focus with, I still have a dips day, but I do have a dedicated handstands day, and I've just kind of been inserting handstand training after my workout for like 20 minutes on several days. It's fun. I'm actually really enjoying it. Just getting used to being upside down for now. But like all things, you gotta start somewhere. It starts seemingly so little and so goofy and so this, and before you know it, right, you forged yourself into something else, man. There's no other way, folks. There's no other way. There's no other path. You must stay the course till the bitter end, But that's not the topic of this video. I was thinking to myself, do you ever just stop and think at the seemingly endless amount of things that some people, some men have to improve on and work on, just to get a girl or something like that. Do you ever really stop and just take it all in? How utterly insane it sort of feels. Now, obviously, that's not some sort of, you shouldn't self-improve at all. No, but do you ever just sometimes think it, take it all in? You got to get in shape, and you got to get good clothes, and you got to get a certain haircut, and you should carry yourself a certain way, and you got to get a place of your own, and you got to get certain hobbies, and you have to you got to form some sort of social circle so you can hopefully meet somebody. and you got to do this, and you got to do that, and on it goes. Does it ever not just sort of feel sort of utterly insane, folks? You know, you look at other people who seemingly don't necessarily, you know, they don't seem any worse or better than you are, and they're not doing any of this shit. But, you know, when you're like the, fuck, man, what's wrong with me? What is wrong with me? What's, you know, you're the one who, You're the one who gets the sort of endless list of things that you need to do. It's, there's something utterly absurd about it, isn't it? You know, I was watching some Heat and Succeed videos, and he sort of comes from the line of lookism, you know? If you kind of watch, I've been on a MGTOW kick lately, primarily watching a lot of Heat and Succeed, Hell by the Dashboard Light. I must have watched almost every one of your videos, sir, if you're watching this. Some interesting stuff. And, you know, a lot of Steve Hoka, too. And you sort of have these two, you know, the big one is sort of this lookism, where it's all about looks. It's all about looks. And sort of the other side, which argues, man, it's not about looks. It's not about confidence. It's just, I mean, I don't want to, like, speak for people and try to, maybe I'm not describing what they're saying well. Well, it's just women aren't as interested anymore in the West due to the, you know, the birth control and the blah 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 and what it does to their hormones. And, you know, you do have to admit, you see quite a lot of very schlubby guys with girlfriends, and not like some uggos. You see with some very attractive women. It's one of those where when you start paying attention to the couples around you, it really is like, oh shit, huh. You know, we love to make fun of this whole, oh, these soy boys or something like that. We're like, well, shit, man, they're the ones who are seemingly getting girls, while you're the one pumping iron and going home and sitting in your room alone, right? You know, well, they're just fucking Chad on the side. They're just this and that. I mean, who really knows, man? Who really knows? I can see both sides. I think I can see both sides. Got to get yourself in shape so maybe women find you more attractive. I mean, after all, are you into fatties? Not necessarily, unless, you know, women can sort of get away with it if they're proportioned well, etc. But you know, you can't deny the, like, shit, man, there are some fucking schlubs and goofy motherfuckers who are seemingly no better or worse than you, but yet you're alone, you know? But anyway, what tangent was I going on? Yeah, so he sort of talked about, he made an interesting point. He made a very interesting point about, here, I'll turn off the engine. He made an interesting point about, you know, if you're in, like, middle school, high school, and college, and you're not really getting attention from women, then, you know, maybe that's, you know, it's maybe an indication that women just aren't, for the most part, really attracted to you. You know, and if you have this seemingly endless list of things that you need to work on. Oh, you get in shape, you get this, you work on your game, you work on your confidence. You know, that's another one that's really lovely. You just got to be confident, man. it's not to go on a tangent here, but I feel like my stance on confidence is for you to be confident, you need something to be confident about. And that's, it's an endless list, folks. It really is. And I can already see, believe me, I can already see the comments that people could write in this video about, well, listen up, fat ass. You got to do this, this, and this. And another person will say, you got to do this, 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 and this. And another person, well, you need to see a psychiatrist, see a dating coach. Like, it is nearly limitless of the things that you seemingly need to work on that other people don't. And they are definitely not, those are the Chads. Like, no, they're not. No, they're not. And so if you have this basically grocery list of things that you need to work on, that sometimes feels like it can drive you mad, folks. It really does, where you just realize, like, how the fuck did it get so complex, This is something in theory, in a normal world and all that, should take care of itself, right? You should sort of meet somebody through something, and it seems to happen to a number of people, but for you've got a fucking groceries list of items that you need to work on. And maybe once again, that's just an indication of who you are. Maybe attraction, folks. I was thinking about attraction. Sort of decided for now that I think it's just something that happens. It either happens or it doesn't. And there's not a whole, maybe you'll be able to do some stuff to control it. But, are you really just going to, like, completely change yourself around? Or you'll be one of these people who just women seem to really go after and find endearing, and all of that stuff, So I was thinking about, and it didn't even occur to me in the moment, but it was something like, after listening to a bunch of these videos lately, I remember this little situation that happened. So a little while ago, I went out to a place to do some training for a new guy. He's pretty cool, actually. I really enjoy talking to him. It's too bad I don't see him and chat with him a lot more directly in person and all that. And so I remember we were at this place, where we were at. And, and he's one of those, he's very personable. So, yeah, we talked about girls and all that. And he's a little bit taller than me. We talked about weight loss, because he sort of mentioned, like, oh, it seems like you lost weight and all that. And he kind of showed a picture of himself when he, like, weighed less. We just, you find something, you find something to talk about, and you find out, oh, you like talking to the other person. So you just kind of talk about this and that. Very personable, really nice guy. I really enjoy talking to him. And yeah, we talk about women and all that, and definitely did not get the impression that he really struggled with women. He sort of described his current girlfriend, but sort of had this, like, oh, I feel sorry to say this. It didn't sound like he found her that particularly attractive, but she went after him, So whatever situation he was in, he went for it, but whatever. But he sort of said, like, oh, like her a lot, but, feel bad for saying this, but just sort of hinting that did not find her that great looking. Whatever. But, a little bit taller than me, definitely heftier, but I would say no better or worse looking. definitely swarthier, but whatever, you know. And so we were at this place, and just this one girl that I talked to there, not in that way, just, you know, because you're there, you know, you be friendly with people, and with some people you have maybe a little bit more honest and more in-depth conversations and all that. And, you know, she came over and she was kind of talking to us, but mostly because she saw him, and then it basically turned into like her saying how she was going to try to set him up or look for a girl for him. So she was like, oh, what are you into? What are you in? You know, what qualities are you looking for? And that was interesting. You know, I found that looking back at it now, it's very interesting. And this is a very religious girl too, ironically enough. So here she is, like, basically, trying to, you know, here's this dude who's already got a girlfriend, and it's like, oh, how can I get you another one? That's rather peculiar. I mean, I guess technically there's nothing in the good book against that, right? So who are you to judge? But I thought that was very interesting. And I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. And we kind of talked about afterwards, I remember that day, how it pays, you know, to have like a wing woman, if you will. A woman who, like, knows, who's got, like, single friends or knows whatever, who can set you up. And it didn't occur to me in the moment then, but it's just, like, way later now, I was thinking to myself, I remember talking to that girl lots of times, and she definitely never offered to set me up or find somebody for me, you know? That's peculiar. That's peculiar. Even though I feel like I had some pretty honest conversation. I don't know, maybe, I mean, normally I don't normally just be like, oh, I'm single, you should find somebody for me, you know, anything like that. I just, you know, here's somebody who doesn't look any worse or better, I feel like, than me. Well, he's got game, he's got social skills. Folks, you know, somebody left a comment on the Dark Souls 2 video. Oh, instead of playing video games, you need to go hang out and work on your social skills. I actually have, believe it or not, folks, I actually have very good social skills. Believe it or not, you probably, you know, not only that, I actually have very good social sort of awareness where I know, like, if I'm saying something and somebody's not paying attention or they're not interested, I have that awareness, you know. So these people who'll say, well, maybe you have autism. Like, I don't fucking have autism. I actually have a very almost hyper sort of sense in a way of people's feelings, where I can tell that, like, I'm annoying them. And sometimes I use it to my advantage to, like, you know, sometimes you'll talk to a girl, you know, and like the stuff you're saying, you know, you're like fucking with them, where they're like, they don't know if you're being serious or not, but in your head, you know, just stuff like that. I have that awareness. So I do have social skills. I don't have any problems talking to people. I mean, this is the benefit of forcing yourself to do customer service, folks, and getting over that fear. And so, you know, game, like, fucking, what game? And no, this isn't any hate towards the guy. I mean, not at all. Like I said, I really like this guy. So it isn't anything like that. You know, I'll get to the point afterwards. And so that happened, which, you know, like I said, that's interesting. I talked to this girl plenty of times and all that, and, you know, I was kind of like telling her, oh, you know, I'm not doing so well. But yeah, never offered to set me up with any of her friends, even though I feel like I've seen her a bunch, talked to her a bunch, all that stuff. Not even a hint. I don't know. I just, maybe I'm overthinking it. The other fucked up thing, this is another, you'll enjoy this one. I don't think I talked about this in any video. The fucked up thing, that day too, this is another thing that I sort of forgot about. So that day, and I've been there before, and this has never happened, but that day when I was there with him, I was given some training, we were at the desk, blah, blah, there's this girl, I'll see like a number of like college/high school girls, whatever, coming in with their laptops to study, write papers, blah, blah, blah. This one girl comes in, pretty cute. I think she was in college to be like a social worker or something. So she like comes in, is like, oh, you help out with people, blah, 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 and made her way around the desk to our end, and like even sat down in like this little stool that we have that we can sometimes sit down on. Very, maybe that's just, oh, well, that's, some people are just that way. They sort of come around to your end, but like, a cute college girl, like very deliberately coming around to get closer to kind of where you are, and like very much get in your space, when I was there by myself at that place, yeah, that shit ain't never happened. But the one day that I was there with him giving training, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting that happened. So, what is the point of all this? What am I trying to get at? Folks, I wonder if it's going back to this idea of attraction where it's just maybe there's just something about some people that, you can't really quantify it. You can't really put it into words. You can't really measure it. There's just something about some people that, women will find, it's not even so much off-putting, it's just, it will mostly make them uninterested, if that makes sense. And it may be even something that you can't ever really change, that, you'll get in really good shape, and you'll this, and it still won't fucking matter. It's something core, almost like on a spiritual level. Well, it's because you're, once again, I can see, it's because you're like a fucking weirdo, and it's no, you don't even have to say anything, and it's a thing. That's what I mean is, these fucking people who are, you shouldn't go up to a girl and tell her she's cute, and if she wants to get coffee, I think they decide within seconds whether they're interested or not, folks. You need to go to the gym for like at the same time, and you need to spend 6 months seeing if any girls, and maybe you'll eventually see one and make small talk, and then after small talk get a Facebook. Maybe after fucking 5 years you can finally ask one out on a date. This fucking bullshit is what all that is. I do think it honestly takes seconds for them to decide they're either interested or they're not. And I think for some people, there's just something about you. You can get in shape all you want, this and that, and it'll still be there. It's like when you were born, how the stars were aligned and how it affected the chemicals and the hormones and fucking whatever, how it struck you, it just made it how it is. I've talked about before that were you bullied in high school? Were you bullied in school? Honestly, no. I was not bullied at all. I was a ghost, folks. I was a ghost. I could sort of fit in with every group, get along with everybody. This and that. Maybe make people laugh here and there, but for the most part, just a ghost. People don't bother you, but they also don't pay attention to you either. And maybe that's where some of my weird, fucking dry, absurd humor in real life comes from, where it's like, I feel like that's the only way I can reach out to people so they'll pay attention to me by paying attention to me, but viewing me as just sort of like a funny but weird person. But for the most part, ignoring and probably not giving a shit about. And so I was thinking to myself, folks, that, realistically, that's probably something that I just have to accept about myself. This sort of idea that you'll just, if you take this laundry list of self-improvement things and implement all of it, oh, there you go. The masculine energy and the confidence and the blah, 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 blah. Suddenly, you're going to go from basically women treating you like you're a ghost. And it's always amusing where the few... There's more than a few times in my life where, women will talk to you and joke around with you, and the fucked up thing is when they'll even flirt with you. But if you show any intention in like a romantic interest, they will recoil and be offended. Absolutely offended. I mean, I remember the one from 2012. Some of the shit she said, it was like, God damn, well, I might not always have a boyfriend. And then you show your interest that way and they recoil and get offended and all that. Like, wow, you're the one. Like, what the fuck? Like, and so that's what I mean, is that maybe it's just something in the stars, folks. Just something about you. You can't really explain. You might smile and give eye contact and blah, bitty blah, but you're basically just another object in the background to walk past and not really pay attention to. And I mean, I can get angry about it, right? I can get angry about it, or accept that this is just who I am. That's not to say, what's that? So don't self-improve anything? Like, no, not at all. But I don't know. I think starting to think that you can change things up to a certain point. But this fucking meme, this self-improvement meme that, some people, this is your prescription. You got a long prescription. You got a big fucking prescription that you have to do. But, you'll come across these guys who, they don't look any better or worse. They might even look worse than you. And they don't have to do any of this. It's that's interesting, you know? But so you'll have to forgive me if I'm a little cynical with the I told you what you need, you know, it's every person out there has a list for me of what I need to do. That's my problem. You just need to do this, and then somebody else has another list of items, and no, what you actually need to do is this. No, this other person has this. You'll have to you'll hopefully understand why I may consider it a little absurd sometimes. You know? I guess that's just sort of how it is with some people. Just something about you. Something about you. But I'm not here to get sad. I'm only here to get a little angry. But I've got my training tonight, folks. Training tonight. No excuses. No excuses. We've got the park to ourselves. There's nobody, that was a little bunny. There's nobody hogging the fucking machines, the barbells, the this. The world is our gym, you know? Getting some fresh air out in nature. Training for the bitter end, whatever that's going to be. All right, folks. Bye-bye.